The defense lawyer for the fifth accused in the trial of the people accused of killing Senzo Meyiwa, Advocate Zandile Mshololo, has continued to poke holes in Senzo Meyiwa's friend Tumelo Madlala's version of events, as has been happening since yesterday. Mshololo has told the court that Meyiwa's post-mortem suggests that he was shot at close range. Our reporter on the story is Mnisi, live for us this lunchtime from the High Court in Pretoria. Linda, let's talk about what Advocate Mshololo was trying to establish around Tumelo Madlala being in the bedroom while there was commotion in other parts of the house, and why he did not try to call the police.
Well, Tambekile, you'll remember that Tumelo Madlala told the court that immediately after that gunshot went off, he then ran into the bedroom. This is where he hid his cell phone and waited until the commotion and the scuffles were over. He says he only came out of that bedroom after everything had settled down. He started hearing people crying, and that's when Mthokozisi, who was also in that house at the time of the shooting, used a spoon, I think, to open for him, and then that's when he came out of the house. That's when he realized that Mthokozisi was also in the house. Everybody else was in the house, but Senzo Meyiwa was in between a stand as well as a couch. Now, what Advocate Mshololo is trying to establish with that question is around what he did when he entered that bedroom. It seems he ran for cover, he ran for safety, he had his cell phone at the time. So the question then was, did you call the police? Did you make a call to the police? And he said, well, he didn't. He was scared at the time, and it's only a person in that position who would understand why he didn't make that call. He said he hid that cell phone in the blankets until the time was right for him to then come out. You'll remember he made reference or told the court about Tumelo Madlala having, in fact, Longwe having ran out of the house at the time when the first intruder came into the house, and he was asked about what exactly, whether Tumelo Madlala went to go get, went to go look for help, and he says that, well, in fact, he did not, and he even asked him about where he went, and he says, Longwe said that, well, in fact, he did not call for backup. So Advocate Mshololo then now focusing on that post-mortem and what the report says in comparison to his statement and the testimony that he gave in court around where everyone was. You'll remember there was that scuffle that was happening between Kelly Khumalo Zandi as well as their mother Gladness Khumalo with the intruder who's said to have had the gun, as well as Senzo Meyiwa, who was in the kitchen pinning the second intruder against the wall. According to Tumelo Madlala, the gunshot went off from the first intruder. Now the question is, because that first intruder who had the gun was with Kelly Khumalo, her mother, her sister, behind Senzo Meyiwa, how is it that then that the doctor's report, the post-mortem report, reveals that the entry wound is in the front and then the exit wound is at the back? You would have heard the state objecting to that line of questioning, saying that it's too technical for the witness to testify on this evidence.
Then if the doctor says the deceased sustained entry wound in front, whilst the deceased was facing the door, it means the person who fired shot would have been in front of the deceased, not at the back.
Once again, we reiterate our objection. These are technical issues beyond the knowledge of the witness. Firstly, the witness has said he wasn't, after a shot went off, he ran into the house. And secondly, my lord, as we have already indicated, these issues are of a technical nature and should be reserved for experts. And thirdly, my learned friend can take up those issues in argument, my lord, but we respectfully submit that it's unfair to put such questions of a technical nature to a witness.
That's the defense there, Tembegile, objecting to that line of questioning by the defense, the lawyer for accused number 5, Advocate Zandile Mshololo. And then you would have heard just before we adjourned for lunch, Advocate Zandile Mshololo asking for an early, adjournment to try and clarify her line of questioning in as far as that draft indictment of docket 375 is concerned. You'll remember the letters that were sent to this court by the DPPs around the decision and whether or not they had decided to prosecute the people who were inside the house at the time. Advocate Mshololo putting some of those questions related to that docket to the witness, and the state again objecting, saying that at this point it's unfair to ask the witness to comment about a document that has no status. So you would have seen there the judge also having his own questions around the line of questioning that was coming from the lawyer of accused number 5. So at this point, the early adjournment was used for the purposes of Advocate Mshololo really going through her line of questioning and what exactly she wants to ask the witness to comment about in as far as that docket is concerned. You would have heard also, Tembegile, the judge asking Tumelo Madlala whether he was testifying in a way that would not implicate himself. And it's quite interesting that he said that he's not doing that, and if he's wrong and if he gives false information to the court, then he too can be arrested.
Linda Mnisi, thank you very much for that update from the High Court in Pretoria. We'll go back to you when court resumes at 2 o'clock.